What is up, everybody? This is Puck Rock Rangers, episode 6. I'm Stefan. This is Palmer. We got a good amount to talk about, so let's get into it. All right, guys, so the season is right around the corner. Preseason starts on Sunday. There's been a lot of interviews, a lot of talks going on, and just a whole lot of things happening that we'd like to talk about. But before we get into any of that, we're kind of gonna just brief you on what's been going on with our lives lately. What's been going on with you, man?
Doing a lot. It's been a busy week at work. Tired as hell from that. Ready for some Ranger hockey. This is Thursday. By the time you guys watch this, we'll probably have the first preseason game in the way. Oh, we're out of the way. Let's go. Just stoked. Practiced with Hard Facts yesterday. First time in probably a month that I'd seen those guys. So it was good to kind of shake the cobwebs off and get back to it. And just living life, enjoying things, and yeah, ready for hockey, ignoring football. And what do you got, Stefan?
Not too much. I did have a sad day yesterday. We had to put my cat down, which was pretty devastating. He was the first pet I ever had. You know, I live in a house full of women, so he was my buddy. He was the homie. And I'm gonna miss him a lot. He had cancer, and he kind of just declined quickly. It happened pretty quickly. I remember just telling him that my cat had cancer, and it seemed like it was like a week or two ago. Maybe a little bit longer than that, and it just happened so fast. So that was really sad, and it's never fun when that happens. But besides that, just working a good amount, waiting for hockey, watching interviews, watching the Rangers, anything Rangers related, I've been watching and getting on board with.
Yeah, same.
And so I am beyond excited to get into this season. So, having said that, something exciting happened. Everybody knows we got a little bit of hockey, a little preview over the weekend, and that was the rookie series between the Rangers and the Flyers. And I know for me personally, watching that, it kind of changed my mind on something, and maybe it is a little bit of a hot take, but I do have something that has happened in that game that something switched me up and changed. I switched sides. So, but before I get into what my hot take is, what do you got on the games?
Well, and what Stefan's talking about, in case you missed it, on Friday the 13th, and on Saturday the 14th, the Rangers and Flyers rookies squared off at PPC Arena in Allentown. Both were good games. I paid a little closer attention to game one just because I was more available for it. But I did catch game two as well. The boys look good. The people playing in this game are mostly rookies, AHL guys, prospects. So you didn't see Matt Rempe, but you saw guys like Adam Enstrom that we've seen before. Touted prospects like Brendan Othman, Othman Prophecies. Othman Prophecies. And Dylan Garand, Brett Berard. So saw a bunch of the big names, and it was a heck of a game, a heck of a series. Rangers won the first one, Flyers win the second one, and you get Adam Enstrom, 2 goals in the first game. Othman was a little quiet, but got the game winner and an assist on an Enstrom goal. Second game, actually I had a note on Dylan Garand. Dylan Garand played Garand. He looked really good. He was good he was good for 38 of 41 shots.
He looked phenomenal.
3-0 in the shootout, so he looked really good. And Mateev Michkov is going to be a problem with the Flyers. That kid is a rocket, and look out. That's something that stood out too. He was about the only Flyer prospect that really stood out to me on the offensive side. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm laughing because on our TikTok account I was trolling this guy. I posted a video and said Adam Enstrom, best player for both teams. I guess some Flyers fan came on there. He wasn't better than Michkov, and I was like, yeah, he was. Like, clearly we know Michkov is going to be an issue. He is a highly skilled player. He's going to be an all-star, but it was just fun to kind of, give him a little piece to say, oh yeah, this guy who's a no name is better. Like just kind of talking smack a little bit. So I got a good chuckle out of that. But I just want to say that the big switch up that I've had is that after watching those games, going into it, you expect the big names, like especially Brennan Othman, to just light it up. You expect him to, at least make some big things happen. And the only thing that I noticed that really stood out from him was that he got the game winner, even though it was a game winner, it was a shootout game winner. I was just a little bit underwhelmed by Othman.
Same, yeah.
Some other notable players that I thought looked really good. I thought Sikora looked pretty good. I think Robertson looked pretty good. But really, the guy who stole the show was Adam Edstrom. And after watching that series, I'm like, I'm championing for the Twin Towers line, the Twin Towers fourth line again. Adam Edstrom, Matt Rempe. And I'd be cool with just VC as the center. Like, you can go with Carrick or VC, but honestly, I think I favor VC a little bit. When you got two mammoths on each side of you, what do you need a tough guy center for? So,
the only issue with that is I would think they're gonna put someone who plays center there, so that would be Carrick or Johnny Broads. Not that I'm against it, I just think that's the way they would go. But back to Enstrom, you can sit there and compare who's gonna have a better career, him or Michkov. Michkov's got incredible ceiling, and no disrespect, but I don't know how you say he's better. 1 goal through 1 game.
He's still trolling.
Edstrom had 3 goals through 2 games, and actually some of the jump that I was looking back, and when I realized that Edstrom had 3 goals in 2 games, I was gonna take a pot shot at Kakko and say that's more than he did in the playoffs, which is true. He had 2 points through 15 games, which is dog shit. And I wasn't even looking at Mika, but I said, you know what? What did Mika do? Mika had an assload of assists, but he had 3 goals.
3 goals and he had 16 games, 16 points in 16 games or something.
You ever get over something and then you see something and it just gets you mad again?
Yeah.
Our dad used to do that all the time.
A little sock laying on the floor.
Now you're bringing up old shit. And it did. It was like, it got me pissed off again. And I was like, yes, he got assists. Yes, he played well, but that is not good enough. That is not good enough. And I love Mika, not just shitting on him, but when I looked at that, it jumped off the page and made me want to barf.
I do want to add that it wasn't just the fact that he got 3 goals in that series. Going back to Edstrom, it wasn't just the fact that he got 3 goals in the series. It seemed like he was the most noticeable player on the ice every time he was out there. He was looking crisp. There's no other way to put it. He was skating well. He was blowing past the defenseman. He was driving the plays, crashing the net. And when it comes to getting results, it's a results-driven industry, and Edstrom made it happen. Without him out there, we would have gotten smoked both games, I think.
Yeah. And another guy who deserves some credit here, didn't get on the score sheet, but he's a defenseman, was Mancini. Is it Victor Mancini? I love the name.
Didn't he get that goal off the, who is it? We got...
I have notes on the goals.
The Sikora feed?
No, Matthew Robertson is a defenseman that got a goal in game 2, and that kid needed it because the word on him is that he was drafted pretty high, but no one really hears about him. He doesn't come up in conversation about who's going to get the call up. He certainly hasn't been called up. So him looking good in both games and scoring in game 2 boded well.
That's just the Rangers' way.
But yeah, Victor Mancini was throwing bod. He just looked good. That's a guy that keep your eye out. Could potentially crack this lineup based on what I saw within the next couple of years.
Yeah, and we were just talking about it in the last episode, how the Rangers love messing up prospects. Once upon a time, in Rangers fans' households, Matthew Robertson was a household name. Everybody was super excited to see him come up and see what he was going to do, and the Rangers somehow screwed the pooch, and they have a way of just kind of letting players who could be something fizzle out. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but
yeah. And I alluded to it last episode. Hopefully the future's bright with Glenn Sather being gone, and we can kind of move forward there. Yeah. So Chris Drury met with the media. I don't know where the video is available. Haven't been able to find it. It's like a government secret, but a lot of people have broken it down. John Chick broke it down on Locked On Rangers. Also, our boy Evan over at Rangers Central did a really great breakdown. It's coach talk. and GM talk from these guys. They didn't really say a whole lot. I didn't really expect a whole lot from them. What do you got? I watched those interviews, but it was just kind of a nothing sandwich to me.
It's all politics.
Yeah.
It's the same thing the politicians do to us. They just stay within a certain, like, they stay between two goalposts and they don't go outside of that when answering any questions. And within answering their questions, they don't answer questions. So you could give the most direct question, and it seemed like they were asking direct questions, but all they got was indirect answers, like the typical.
No, they're asked point blank questions sometimes, and they dance around it, and and I get it to some extent. I mean, they're not going to say, yeah, Kakko sucked last year, we need him to be better. They're not going to say, they're not going to do that. I mean, no one, they're professionals.
Yeah.
There's things that are probably said in the locker room behind closed doors, that we'll never know, we'll never hear. But yeah, as far as them addressing the media, it's a total puff piece. It was good to hear from Drury. And it's one of those things where, like, as quiet as he was this offseason, it's good to know that he's actually still there. And Laviolette, I like him a lot. I'm excited for year 2 with him and the coaching staff. And we'll see. But yeah, I didn't have a lot of notes on it. It was a lot of coach talk.
I want to say something though.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the Drury talking about with the hopes, he has high hopes for this next season. I just want to say, like, if you shit in one hand and hope in the other, which one's gonna fill up faster? You're gonna have a steamy pile in one hand and then nothing in the other. So, I mean, I don't like that approach. And like Palmer said, we didn't get to watch the video directly. I don't even know if there was a video of it or if there was just articles of it. But based off of what I've heard from multiple sources, it just seems like he didn't do enough, and it's a little bit disgruntling.
A couple things Drury said, in terms of Kakko, he said that he referred to last season as kind of a fluke. I don't 100% agree with that. I think last season he was injured, but it was kind of consistent with what he's done.
Merely a flesh wound.
It was more than a flesh wound. He was kind of consistent with what he's done through his career. I don't consider that a fluke, but I'm hopeful that it's a much better season for him.
Igor has high hopes for him.
But Igor's got his back, and that was nice to hear.
Yeah,
Igor
Igor's
doesn't
got his back.
talk a whole lot, but it was good to see. He's got his players back, and look, as much shit as I talk, Kakko's a Ranger, man. I want the guy to succeed. So, Drury also said nothing's off the table. I want to say it was Colin Stevenson asked him basically point blank, are there any members of this core that you would be okay with or you'd be willing to part with? And he said nothing's off the table. So I like that. At least shows that we're willing to make moves. But look, we're running it back. You've seen teams, I think of the Caps lost a couple times, finally won. The Bolts lost a couple times, finally won. The Avalanche lost, finally won. And none of those teams reinvented the wheel, man. They built a core, ran it back. The Rangers could do the same thing, man. So I was a little disappointed they didn't do more this offseason, but at the same time, this is the squad. This is the squad.
Do you get this, like, overwhelming, gloomy feeling watching these interviews?
No.
You don't?
No.
I kind of do. Like, before I watched any of them, I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, we got just as good of a chance as ever. Watching these interviews and then watching other people's content and opinions, it kind of, like, it makes me feel a little gloomy. It kind of makes me feel a little hopeless. Does this team have what it takes? Does this core have what it actually takes to get over the hump?
Yeah, and that's a totally fair question. I'm not saying that I don't have doubts. I'm not saying, let's plan the parade. But I don't feel gloomy. No, I'm excited. I'm stoked. I'm hopeful. I'm a Trouba apologist. I think Trouba is on a redemption tour this year. And actually, speaking of, let's go into the Trouba interview, because Trouba actually did say some things, and I was, like I said, Trouba apologist, Trouba fan. I was happy to see him kind of talk some shit to the media.
He called out Larry Brooks. Like, he didn't say, Larry Brooks, you're a piece of shit, but he called out Larry Brooks without calling out Larry Brooks. He said, I don't know how they've come up with this crap.
Younger Ranger fans, and I'm not trying to date myself here because I was young when it happened, but if you've never watched the interview with Tortorella asking Brooksy if he likes to fight or if he's ever been in a fight, classic, gold, great stuff. But yeah, it was good to see Trouba kind of not even set the record straight because, again, he's not going to come out and say exactly what happened.
He did set it straight, though.
Well, he set the record straight, but he also didn't take us behind the curtain, so to speak. But at the same time, it's good to hear. You know, shit gets blown out of proportion by the media. We take stories and run with it. And the reality is that's their captain. He's there for at least probably one more season unless something drastic happens. And you can either root against him or root for him. I'm going to root for him. So
yeah, I just want to say I'll be very upset if the Rangers home crowd boos Trouba when he enters the ice. I think if you had watched the interview, you would the way I perceived his interview is everything that has been said is just bullcrap. None of it actually happened. I'm glad to be here. They're glad to have me here. I really didn't want to go anywhere. They didn't really want to send me anywhere. That's kind of how I perceived it. Whether that's true or not, we'll never really know. But it seemed as if he wasn't only it just seemed like he wasn't manipulating the process, and I didn't get that vibe from him. So I like to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was already a champion already championing him, but
he did. Look, Trouba didn't do anything this season that you at home would not have done if you were in that position. So cut the shit. I mean, he signed a contract. It takes two to tango. And that's what he said in the interview. It's standard business. It's standard business. And he's right. It is standard fucking business.
He said I could be traded right now. Now that I turned in my list, if they wanted to trade me, they could trade me right now. And there's nothing I could do about it. Just is what it is.
I'll say, as far as booing Trouba, I mean, I can't tell anyone what to do. You know, if he comes out and plays like shit and all those words meant nothing and he fucked off all season or all off season, sure. But if he comes out and is playing hard and a heart and soul guy like he has been and a leader, and you're booing him, you need to turn in your card.
He'll probably think they're saying true.
Yeah, exactly.
They sound exactly alike, so he's probably like, all right.
And honestly, if people are booing, there will be people probably troobing to kind of drone that out.
You'll never know what the chant actually is.
What are they saying?
Are they booing or are they truing? Like, what is it?
Both.
So,
anything else on this?
Not really. I'm excited to see him play. I think he said he was feeling good. Clearly his ankle wasn't doing that hot. He said everything's good to go. Everything's back to normal. Aside from that $8 million, if he was making $4 million, nobody would be complaining. But
or even 5 or 6. It's too much. And you've heard other people talk about it. He signed the contract. Global pandemic. Cap froze. We don't have to cover this shit again. I think the real Ranger fans know the deal, whether you like Trouba or not. I'm not telling you how to feel, but to, think he should be cast out and uprooted, and like, that's bullshit. You know, these guys are humans. They have families and they're paid a lot of money, but at the same time, they have a livelihood and that should be respected. I didn't like the way people were dragging him this offseason.
Yeah. What do you think about them denying Laugh on PP1?
I guess.
Like, they didn't say he's not going to get on Power Play 1, but
they said everyone's going to get a look.
Everyone's getting a look, right?
I think
that means it's not happening.
I think Laugh has a chance to blow the doors down and make it where it's like you can't not put him on it. So I'm hoping if he doesn't just get a chance off the gate, I'm hoping that he grabs it. And I think Laviolette's got the stones. I think he'll make a change if he needs to.
That's another thing. With Laviolette's interview, any question asked of Laviolette, he said, "Oh, well, training camp's an opportunity for everyone, so we're gonna give everything's gonna get a look everywhere, every position
Laviolette
at training camp."
Is possibly the most Canadian American I've ever heard speak.
Eh?
So,
yeah, I don't know. I really, really would like to see him get that power play one time, but the vibe I got is that they're not gonna give it to him right off the bat. And there's a couple players up there that I think are less deserving of Lafreniere for that spot. And like Evan said, like you've said before, like I've said before, let's even out the power plays. Power play 1 and power play 2. Why not even them out a little bit? And instead of doing 75-25, 80-20, why not do 50-50, 45-55,
60-40,
55-45, something like that. And, make them both a little more, or make that second one a little more lethal. Keep the first one just as lethal as it's been.
And it makes it a competition. Put yourself on the second power play. You're only going to get 25 seconds, 30 seconds after, the first squad is, smoldered out.
Mm-hmm.
That's low morale. Like, you're not going to hop over the boards thinking something's going to happen. Or if you do, you have so little time, basically you're finishing the power play and giving
you get 15
the number
seconds.
one line rest is what you're doing.
You get 15 seconds and now show us what you can do.
So I think you do. You spread it out a little, and you see what you got on that second unit.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are going to get into some Metro Division predictions. I'm not worried about points so much. Just going to kind of list the teams and where we think they lie within the division. What's going on? What are you laughing at?
We just recorded like 45 minutes, or not that much, but we just recorded like 20 minutes, and I'm an idiot, and I forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah, this is take 2, guys.
So no, we're doing this a second time, so it's like I'm almost living in Groundhog Day. But yeah, we're gonna come up with some predictions. I think Palmer's gonna start us out with it. So
yeah, I'll go ahead with my predictions. Thought long and hard about this, and I almost had the Devils first. I must have just been feeling saucy, but I ended up going with the boys. I got the Rangers in first in the division. I just think they're that good. It's their time. No disrespect to the other teams in the division, but
disrespect
they've been
to the other teams. Yes.
Fuck them. Rangers been knocking on the door. I just think it's their time with this core. I think they get first in the division. I went with the Devils second. Everyone's got them first. A lot of people have them first. I shouldn't say everyone. I have them second. I think they're knocking at the door, but they're not quite there yet. Figured out some of their goalie issues with Markstrom. Brought in a couple pieces. So I think they're in second. Third for me was, and this was a tough one.
Hot take.
This is a hot take, and I will be completely happy to call myself a clown if this does not come to fruition, because it's not what I want to happen. And Stefan was asking about weird, sneaky, doom and gloom kind of feelings. Here it is right here. I think Pittsburgh is third in the division. Based off experience.
Well, let's hope not.
Let's hope not. I mean, I want nothing good for them, literally. But I just think they've been knocked down the last couple of years. It had to piss them off. Sid and Malkin, those guys have a track record.
Malkin's old as hell now.
They're all old as hell. But they have a track record against better judgment, against what I want to happen. My hot take is that they're in third in the Metro. Moving on, I have Carolina fourth. They hit or miss off season. They lost some pieces, they added some pieces. In my opinion, they're not as good as they were. They've been at a high level for several seasons, and I just think they finally start to peter off a little bit. Washington would be behind them. What's that? Fifth? 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth. Everything you say. Fifth. Washington is fifth. I could have flip-flopped them in Carolina. I think Washington added a lot of pieces. I like the Pierre-Luc Dubois add, even though he's been kind of ass other places. I just have a feeling that he's going to be good there. They brought in Darcy Kemper, they got rid of Darcy Kemper for Pierre-Luc Dubois, sorry. Charlie Lindgren's going to be between the pipes for them. I think they got a lot going on there. Obviously, Ovi and Oshie are dogs. I have the Islanders sixth. I just think that's the perfect spot for them. They're not the best, they're not the worst, but they sure do stink, and I think they're sixth. And then Philly and Columbus are 7 and 8. To me, that just makes sense. Philly made a little bit of noise last year. I don't expect much out of Columbus, and that's where I have them.
Yeah, I mean that's aside from the saying that the Penguins don't suck, I kind of agree with your list. I am gonna make a couple changes to it, not many. My list is very similar to Palmer's list. I'm gonna say that Pittsburgh does not take third. I'm gonna say Pittsburgh gets fourth. I'm gonna put Carolina in third. I just think Carolina has better coaching, even if they don't have a better roster, which I think they do. I think that the coaching in Carolina knows how to get the team to where they play.
Rod the Bod.
Yeah, Rod just knows what he's doing. He's a hell of a coach. So I'm gonna flip flop those two, and then I'm also gonna flip flop the Flyers and Blue Jackets. I know that the Blue Jackets have a lot of work to do, and I'm kind of pulling for them this year because I feel bad for the things that the fan base and the team's going through. I think that this team is going to play better for Goodrow. I think that they're going to play better for the fans. I think that they have every reason in the world to overachieve a little bit. I think that they're going to be playing with passion.
I like that.
And yeah, I just don't see them coming in dead last again. I think that they're going to do everything in their power to at least not get in dead last place and give their fans a little bit of hope that there's good things to come. So those are going to be the two switches that I make in the roster. And other than that, I'm going to leave it all the same. And that leads me to something that I saw, I think it was yesterday or the day before. The guy who was driving the car with the Goodrow incident, he had like another court hearing or something, and it just made me feel bad. It really just made me feel bad. The guy has two small kids, and it makes you realize the more that comes out, like we said in that last episode, the more that comes out, the more fucked up it just gets, because this guy's kids didn't deserve to be put in this situation. His wife and family didn't deserve to be put in this situation. And if you had known, basically they created the narrative that it was a very unlikely situation for this guy to do. And I'm not justifying it. Like there's under no circumstances that he should have gotten in that car while drinking. There's no excuse for that at all. However, it's hard for me not to feel sympathy for his family as well as the Goodrow family. It's just the more that comes out, the worse it just gets. And I don't want to harp on it too much, but that did just drop, and I felt that I should mention it a little bit. So
yeah, here in Columbus, I hear that they're going to keep Johnny Goodrow's stall empty, or maybe put his jersey in it, but they're not going to move someone else into it. They're not going to just yank the nameplate off. So I think that's a nice touch. Give the guys a little something to play for. And yeah, I like that point. I think they could do something based on that. I'm also maybe a realist and think that, that gets them buzzing first couple games, but they are who they are. They lost one of their best players, unfortunately. And I just, I love the Cinderella story, but frankly, just don't think they have it this year.
The Flyers had a Cinderella story last season. So did the Capitals. There was a lot of Cinderella stories last season. A lot of unexpected things happened last season. And teams that nobody thought had a dying chance in hell to make the playoffs were one game difference from making the playoffs. So
well, there's a lot of parity in the NHL, which is good. Other sport leagues, you kind of know who's going to win. You kind of know who's going to make a run. Other teams have done that. In the NHL, short of a couple teams here and there's a lot of parity. Everyone's got a chance. And this season, I watched a lot of pick videos, a lot of people's videos this week. And everyone, we're creatures of habit. We kind of predict things to go off of what the past has done. And a lot of people are picking all the same teams from last year. Someone's going to make a run. Someone's going to make some noise. Someone's going to disappoint, so.
Look at the Devils last season. They were expected to come, third in division?
Yeah.
And they played like ass. They underachieved very badly. Things happen. And if you know hockey, you know that nothing is safe. There is no guarantees with hockey. The best team does not always win in hockey. And that's just the way the sport is. That's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
You think they're going to retire his jersey?
I would think so. I think they'll probably retire the number.
You think Calgary too?
Maybe Calgary. I'd like to see both teams do it. But I would say at least Columbus, because that's who we played for when it happened. It would be a nice tribute.
Yeah, for sure.
Put it up in the rafters and let it live on forever.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, we have a musical feature this week. It's a band called Inconsolable.
Inconceivable. I stole your joke.
Hey, that's my line. I'm sure they get that all the time, but it's Inconsolable. These guys are out of Fredericksburg. Listened to their EP earlier when I was looking into them. They got that raw, gritty punk feel, which I really like. Good, short, fast songs. These guys have a show coming up if you're in the Richmond area. It's on October 9th, which is opening night for the Rangers also. So thanks, guys. Now you put me in a conundrum where I have to pick between going to see the boys and the Rangers. But
Are you even a fan?
I am a fan. And actually, they're playing with Hardcore Legends MDC. MDC stands for a couple things, but most famously, Millions of Dead Cops, Millions of Dead Children, Millions of Dead Chickens, just to give you a few. Classic, legendary hardcore bands. So if you're in the Richmond area, check them out. And they're also playing with some legends, or some legends to be. They're not quite legends yet, but my buddy's Fit Check, another good band out of Richmond. So that's going to be a good one. And hate to do it, but I might end up streaming the game from my phone in the pit. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, these guys are cool. The song is called Kool Aides. I think it's a reference to Jim Jones and the Jonestown Massacre is what one of the guys was telling me. And just to read their names out, they got Sid on bass. And I seem to remember another punk band, famous punk band with a guy named Sid on bass. Sid
Malice.
It was
Sid Brutal.
Terrible or Sid
Horrific.
Yeah, I don't
know.
Sid Rotten maybe something. Yeah, if you guys know in the comments, let me know. And yeah, it's just mind blank. I can't think of that band. Sid on bass. But anyways, Jared on guitar. He also does some vocals. And most importantly, Spencer on drums. Probably the only name I should have read off. Everyone knows that's the backbone and most important part of the band. And I don't know the guy, but I'm sure he's great. But yeah, they have a show coming up. We're going to play their song at the end of the video. And I think that's all I had for everyone.
Cool. So stick around if you like punk. We're going to play a song for you, introduce you to some music and stuff. Other than that, I think that's going to do it for today's show. I just want to ask you guys to please subscribe, like the video, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on TikTok, anywhere that there's social media. You can pretty much follow us. And we only drop videos every 2 weeks. So for the punctual fan and the proper on time or whatever, strict to a schedule type fan, every 2 weeks on the dot, you will get a new video from us. But for our less scheduled punk rock type dudes, we do feature clips, the best clips from our shows before the full episode actually drops. And you'll get those on all of our other social media platforms. So go ahead and follow us on everything. Give us your hot takes. Tell us we're stupid. Whatever it is that you want to do, go ahead and do it. We're still looking for people. We're still looking for engagement from people. If you have any Rangers crushes, let us know. If you think that a Rangers player looks like a celebrity and have a doppelganger, let us know. We're looking to get engagement. We're going to feature people in our videos, or at least give them a name drop. So please help us out with that. And I don't really have anything else. Do you have anything?
No, that was well said. I mean, yeah, give us some likes, some support. It goes a long way. We really appreciate it. We're trying to do this for you guys. We want to represent the Rangers, want to talk some general hockey, want to showcase some local and regional punk, hardcore, metal, alternative, bands that are out there doing things, and give this show a little bit of a different twist for you. But yeah, please, like, follow, subscribe, write us your questions, comments. It goes a long way, and we will get back with you. We'll give you a nice little shout out on the show. And yeah, just thanks for everything so far, guys.
All right. So forever hold your peace.
That's it.
All right. Take care, guys.